So the Midrash Eicha Rabbi writes, Galeta Yehuda. Yehuda has gone into Galus, into Galut. And it tells us the following. Umot ha'olam, the nations of the world, Goyim, and non-Golim, they don't really go into exile. They don't have Galut. I mean, everyone's been moving. Chinese guy lives in America. We're not going to say he's in Galus. Why? He's going to say, Umot ha'olam enan golim. Ela af al pi shegolin, even though they're going to Galus en galutam galut. It's not considered a galut. Not like the Jewish people. When we go to Galut, it's considered a galus. Why? What's unique? So today our topic, we're going to understand why Galus is this long. What's the reason behind it? What's our purpose? Why can't we shrink it? Why can't we get out of here? 70 years we got out when it was in Bavel. What happened now that we're stuck? What's going on? And even then in Bavel, were we supposed to be there 70 years or less? We're going to learn today the true meaning of Galut and what really happened. So, Midrash explains, Umot ha'olam, the Goyim, she'ochelim, they eat the food of the people, mipitam, from the food of the host. They were exiled to America, let's say. They eat American food. Veshotin miyenam, they drink from their wines. They're comfortable. En galutam galut, this is not a galus. It's not true galut. They're comfortable. They assimilate. They're perfect. They come here to assimilate. It's not galus. What are they crying for? Do they want the Great Wall of China to be rebuilt? You see anyone care? They came to America and they're happy about it. They don't care. Doesn't concern them. And it goes weiter. Aval Yisrael she'ein ochlin mipitan. We can't eat that. We are separated, right? We eat kosher. Ve'ein shotin miyenam, and we don't drink from their wines. That galutam is galut. So when they go into exile, that's a true exile. And he goes further. Umot ha'olam shehem mehalchin be'is kaftayot, they dress. The Umot ha'olam will, sorry about that. The Umot ha'olam, you don't see them having issues with clothing. I gave an example. Even for those, okay, well, let me just finish it off and then I'll say the example. Aval Yisrael shehem ma'alchin yechafin galutan galut. But the Jews that they go barefoot, which means they don't have that type of clothing. We can't buy everything. We're very different. Even the way we dress, we're different. It looks at I see you're a Jew. Think about it. Goyim used to wear fedoras like we wore fedoras, yeah? Complete opposite of what we do. We take the hat that could be off in the car. When we get the shoe, we put it on. Them, the Goyim, all over the world, the whole world, besides us, when they get to the destination, they take it off. We wear it when we get there. They take it off. Everything's different. Even if you think we have something the same, it's different. Completely different. We don't have that. It's as if we're walking barefoot. We don't have that comfort. So therefore, the Midrash writes, when a Jew goes to Galus, it's true Galus. He's not fit. He doesn't belong in that host country. You can tell you don't belong there. The other people that come, the rest of the world, they adapt. They become part of the culture. It's a melting pot. They're in it. Okay. Lekach nemar galta Yehuda. Therefore, the pasuk says, Golsa Yehuda, that Yehuda went to Galut. What do you mean Yehuda went to Galut? No one else went to Galut. The whole world, they don't go to Galut. Sancheir mixed everybody up. Nobody's considered in Galut, just Yehuda. Teretz is, when a Yehudi goes to Galut, it's a true Galut. And everybody else, it doesn't count. Because they don't need to figure out a way how to live in the host's country. They just okay, good. And they continue living their way. So really, before I even start the Zera Shimshon, you have a major chiddush here. How to remain a Yid, how to remain a Jew. The secret of staying a Jew. Now, what time is it on the clock? Okay, so you may not have time to get to the whole point. So I'll say it now, we'll do it inside. That's the term Ben HaMetzarim, between the boundaries.
GPS signal lost.
Between the boundaries. You know what that means, between the boundaries? To remain a Yid, to remain a Yehudi, you have to live between the boundaries, like the pasuk just said over here, like the Midrash wrote here. You can't blur these lines. You have to have a boundary. This is us. We're in between the Avodah Zarah, whatever the Averos were that caused us to have Galut. We have to be living in between. That's how we're going to understand it. Bein HaMetzarim, in the boundaries. So that's the beginning. Okay, the beginning is we saw the Midrash. The Midrash began. The Midrash says, by the way, you know who's a Galus? Someone who can't live in Galus, and he has to figure out how to make it because we can't have their food and we don't dress like them and we look very different from them. How to remain a Yehudi? In fact, Avram Avinu, when asked, and it's brought up in the Midrash earlier, as Shimshon talked about it, it's a crazy Midrash. Avram comes and says, where's everybody? Nobody, missing. And he doesn't understand what's going on. And Hashem is telling him, I remember I asked you, what do you want for your children? What do you want for your children? Gehenim or a galus? And he said, I'd rather have for them galus because I see it'll be spread out and they won't get punished so harshly right away and it'll take time and they'll have time to come back. I'd much rather my children have that. That was a different midrash, and that was the first Derush in Zera Shimshon. We did that a few years ago. But now we understand over here what's going on, just to give you understand how to remain a Jew. The whole purpose of understanding this first part is Avram Avinu said we should get galus if we do an Avera versus getting boom straight into Gehenna. Apparently it's much stronger and much more pain, but that only applies if you're still a child of Avram Avinu. If you're still within the boundaries of Avram Avinu. And what's the first, the most strongest level of assimilation? Is intermarriage. He writes it down later on, goes through it. Says that is you lost it, forget it. Don't think Galus is here for you now. You lost it, you're going, it's a Gehenna or worse. Yeah, that's it. You lost your rights. This is, so to speak, for us, we're lucky. Avram Avinu wanted this for us. Okay, let's go weiter. Continuing in the Midrash. Okay. Kan hu omer galta Yehuda, u'halan hu omer vayigel Yehuda me'alat maso. Over here it says Yehuda gone into exile. And in Yirmiyahu it says, and Yehuda was exiled from its land. What's the connection? Why does it change from Galta to Vayigel, as if he caused something? Elakivan shegolu, tashesh kohan kenekeva. He became weak. L'kach ne'amar Galta Yehuda. Galta Yehuda. Yehuda went. That's why it says b'lashon nekeva. Once he was thrown out. Once we lost. We have to understand what that means. What does it mean? We'll soon see what that means. Whoa. I'm okay. Okay. So now, the next part of it, me'oni. That's the next part of it, me'oni. Al she'achlu chametz b'Pesach, because they ate chametz b'Pesach. Kemo de'at amar lo tochal of chametz shiv'as yamim tochal of chametz matzos lechem oni. Oh, you had to eat lechem oni. They didn't eat the matzos alone, therefore they were sent out. So apparently, if you don't eat matzahs, you get galus. How does that work? That's going to be one of the questions that Shimshon asked. I don't understand this midrash at all. It's lechem oni. You didn't eat it, therefore you're losing. You're losing Eretz Yisrael. You're going to galus. What's the connection? How does that work? Anyone try? I didn't eat matzahs, therefore I'm going to go to galut. How does that work? Karet. Pasuk karet. Karet, you either die ariri or you die young. An ichrata, a nefesh kol echal machmetzet. It's what are you saying here? What's Midrash doing here? So we're gonna understand. We have to understand this. Davar acher, because it says in the pasuk, right? Oni. Davar acher meoni. Oh, you know what the Jews did? Al shechavelu mashkon oni betoch bateyim. Pasuk says, don't keep the pajamas of the person that gave you a mashkon. The guy came to you to borrow money. He needed money. You tell him, listen, what am I going to lend for you? I can't give you the money for free. What are you going to do? You're going to come back. Give me something. So I have nothing. I'll give you my pajamas. Torah writes specifically, Salmat Eicha, ad bo hashemesh, tishivenu lo, ki hi kesutol levadeh, b'mei yishkav, v'haya, ki yitzak elai v'shamati ki chanun ani. I'm going to hear him cry. You're going to be in trouble. You better return to him his pajamas at night. Don't be like that stickler. He gave you to hold it. That's okay. Give it back to him. At the time, at the end of the base of Mikdash, the time of the destruction, they were taking mashkons, and like it says over here, davar acher meoni al shechavelu mashkon oni betoch batayim. They kept it in their house. They didn't tell the poor person, the oni, that they borrowed that money to, here, take back the pajamas, bring it back in the morning. It's okay. They were very stickler to the poor guy. As the Midrash writes, Kemada at Amar ve'im ish ani hu lo tishkav ba'avoto. You can't do that to him. You have to give it back. Davar acher me'oni. No, we'll stop at this one. No davar acher. Okay. Now let's look at the Zera Shimshon. Now that we understand basically the Midrash, we understand what he's about to talk about. There you go to the first paper. That's the bottom sheet you have. Yes, that's the correct side. And that is the beginning of our Zera Shimshon. And he comes with a Midrash Rabbah. He goes, Midrash Rabbah, go to Yehuda me'oni. He was sent, there was exiled Yehuda because of Oni. What's this Oni? He has a few options. He quotes, he paraphrases the Midrash. Al sha'achul chametz b'Pesach. Davar acher. That's one. Davar acher. Al shechibulu mashkono shel Oni b'Tehim. He kept the avot, the pajamas of the poor guy in their house. They didn't give it to the guy. The guy couldn't fall asleep without he didn't have his pajamas. Umirov avoda. This we didn't see. We had to skip a little bit. Umirov avoda, which the pasuk says, Al shayu mishtabeim be'eved ivri. The eved ivri has special halachot. If you bought the eved ivri, what do we know about eved ivri? He's not your slave. He's in rehab. He sees your family. He says, wow, I could have a family. He sees your car. He goes, wow, if I didn't do stupid things, I'd have a car today. I'd have a family and kids today. Wow, what did I do? That's such a dumb thing that I did. And then after the Shesh Shanim Ta'avod, he goes out. Once he goes out, he can start his family and he can learn from it. So you're there, he's there in therapy. You're not supposed to, the Gemara talks about what type of things you can do to him. You gotta give him the better bed. You gotta be kana evidence, kana rabbi as a new master. So by the time of the end of the base of Mikdash, they were working the Eved Ivri like it was the Eved Kenani. So these three things, Zera Shimshon's gonna ask. Yesh l'daktik ma inyan achil chametz of Pesach legalut. What is this chametz of Pesach connected with Galut that we got thrown out of Eretz Yisrael? Umau davar acher al shechibulo. And how does that even connect? Davar acher, another thing is pajamas. What are you talking about pajamas for? What are you talking about here? What's really going on here? And now comes the teretz of the Zera Shimshon. Yesh lomar. The first he does a little bit of nice some pilpul over here. He goes, Yesh lomar, the misha ocha chametz bepesach chayav karet. Really, you're chayav, second paragraph. Really chayav karet. Yeid chametz chayav karet. Simple. The whole chayav karet is shelaku, the Gemara in Makot. The Bachar we're learning Makot this year. If you learn Perek Shlishi, you know that one of the reasons of Makos is because if it's something b'dei Shemayim, if you get Makos, you'll get kapara and you won't have karet. Right? So he uses that. The whole chayav karet shelaku nifteru midei kirisasam. It comes out from Makos Chav Gimel. It talks about at the end of the Masechta. You're going to be potter from your kares because you did your tshuva. It's b'dei Shemayim, right? B'dei Adam kivin shehigit shuveino. That's it. It's done. Once it was said, it's over. You can't take anything back. Can't be choser or anything. But b'dei Shemayim, you can get it forgiven. Oh, they were chayav karet. You understand the area? Now, if they get makot because of that, so then the karet is pater. You already got your punishment. You did tshuva. You don't get the karet. Not only that, continues, the chol chayve malkiot in Masechet Makot. It also says, what happens when nikla achicha beinecha? If you hit him one too many times, and I don't want to say it in front of everyone, but he went to the bathroom. He got scared. For the men, it's number 2. For the female, even number 1. The Gemara talks about this. So once you got embarrassed, it's as if you already got your makot. So really, you're supposed to get karet. Karet, you can get rid of it if you did makot. Makot is your tshuva. You got beaten up, you feel really bad. Now you don't have to get karet. And if you don't want to get the makot, well, one of the tricks, that's why Bezdin checks the guy a bunch of times to make sure how many times could we hit you until the nikla achicha meinecha. Got to make sure you can handle it. But l'ma'aseh, if the person, bowel movements happen, he got scared, okay? If you're ever going to read these books on slaves in the United States, and they depict exactly what happened, that's what happened. The guy is going to be so scared that the owner might kill him or slap him up, that they soil everything. So that's a big degradation. You're pater from the makot once you were degraded. That's the halacha. So look what it says in the second paragraph. The chol chayvei malkiot, first line, second paragraph, last word. Shenit bazu, that you were embarrassed. Nifteru min hamakot, then you're pater from the makot. Mishelaka, and the vart is, by the way, for those that are makot, the vart is, once you were laka, once it was mishelaka, you're now back to achicha. You were not achicha when you are someone who makes sins. You're not a brother. But once you took care of your punishment, you got rid of your sins, you're back to brother. Now he says, okay, afkan. That was Masechta Makot. Now he says the same thing applies over here. The afkan. Hayu chayavim karet. When you eat chametz on Pesach, you chayav karet. O lefachot, or at least makot, so you can get rid of the karet by doing tshuva through makot. Or at least, the fachot, second line at the end, the fachot bizayon, getting embarrassed. Because once you get embarrassed, you're pater from the makot. The fachot bizayon gadol, to get embarrassed, a great one. Therefore, we were chayiv to go to galut. Does it make sense? By going to Galut, by Eicha Yashva Badad, what happened to Yerushalayim, where the whole world came to bring korbanot, and now we're being taken by chains and led into Babylon. That's an embarrassment to us. Everyone comes there and shame, making jokes on you, throwing food at you as you're walking, making an embarrassment to you. They take us as slaves. They try to take us as musicians. The Levium cut their thumbs off. It was a crazy scene, so we got embarrassed. So if you got embarrassed, you're pater from makot. And makot's supposed to bring you tshuva from karet. So when the Midrash says, we were sent out, that's the review for you, in the real quick elevator review. So when we were sent out, you got it now? So when we were sent out of Eretz Yisrael, it was because we ate chametz on Pesach. What? That's karet. Yeah, but karet you can do tshuva through makot. And makot you don't even need if you got embarrassed, like in degradation, bowel movement or something. From extreme degradation, of being afraid, you can have bowel movement. And the Torah says, okay, enough, pater. He had his damages, that's it, enough with him. So we came out of Eretz Yisrael, Galut. Okay, makes sense now. Because of eating chametz on Pesach. Is it good? Okay. Said on a yucky table, they may throw you out, may not, but once you give the pilpul, they'll invite you back, yeah? So now we have to understand. When I'm pater from Bedin of getting makot, did they call me back the next day? Hey, you're pater only for one day, come back? No, you're pater, that's it, finished, done. So we should have gone to Galut for a minute and done. One of the Galut Yavan, we had that. Galut Yavan, we didn't have to leave. Greek Galut, we didn't have to leave Eretz Yisrael. We were there. We had to just find a nice jug. The kids were listening in the car back from daycare. They're listening to jug, the one jug. I don't know. They made a song on jug. Yeah, we were in Galut, but we were fine. We were there. We didn't leave even. We didn't have to leave. Here we got kicked out. Okay, if you wanna, it should be first a second. Why are we still in Galut? What's going on? Or even in the Galut Bavel, we're 70 years. Where do you get number 70 from? Why 70? If, as we're going to say now, the Avera was Eved Ivri comes out after how many years? Sheish Shanim Ya'avodu Shevi'it. And if not, and he said, I love my master, I want to stay there forever, so Bayovel, Chachik, 7 years, 50 years, 70 years, why? Where are you getting this from? Today we're here, till now we're in Galut, why? There should be some limit. If you're telling me Galut is embarrassment, so that's it. We're embarrassed enough. We're done. Okay, that's going to be the questions. Well, let's go through the second paragraph. Afkan hayu chayavim karet ol lefachot malkot ol lefachot bizayon, bizayon gadol, third line. ולכן התחייבו לגלות, they went to לגלות, אמנם מיד כשגולו היו פטורים, בשביל פטר, והם תאמר נביא, על שחיבלו משכונו של עוני. And the fact that they did the other Aveira, this is why they selected these three Averot. When they didn't give back the mashkon, what's the word mashkon? Collateral. And the Gemara and many other sources tells us that Mishkan was considered a collateral. And so was the Beis HaMikdash, was considered a collateral. It was there on loan. And instead of killing us, he took the sticks and stones, broke them, but left us alive. So, if it was for the Avera of not giving back to the Ani his pajamas that he gave it to you so you could make a loan to him, right, to be collateral, and so, okay, Mida Keneged Mida, what's our collateral? Let's take away the Mishkan, take away the Beis HaMikdash, that's it, just destroy it. Why are we still in Gauss? And if you want to say, and he goes weiter and he says, right, Mikol Makam Ayel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Lito Mehem Beis HaMikdash Shenikra Mishkan Al Shem Mashkon, and it's brought from the Gemara Erevin. V'lo lahaglotam, and why take us out? There should be like in the Yavon, like Antiochus. We were still in the Beis HaMikdash. We just didn't have full power. They destroyed a lot of the parts. We had to rebuild and get everything back to normal. But why are you in Galut? V'chein al shenit abedu be'eved ivri. If they used eved ivri incorrectly, hayodam liot avadim. So then mida keneged mida, make them slaves, and then by the year 6 or by the year 50 they'll come out. So what's going on here? V'zohi, third paragraph, V'zohi kinat ha-mekonen. This is what the Mekonen, the one who's lamenting Yirmiyah, is writing in Eicha. Go to Yehuda. V'lo haita re'uya liglot klal. She didn't even have to go to Galut at all, Yehuda. Right? Oh, lo haita re'uya lit akiv begalut klal. Or not even to waste too much time in it, maybe for a moment. Oh, afim haita re'uya lit akiv shanim. Maybe they get stuck there. Lo haya akiv rak sheishanim. Vehinim etzinu shegalta. Not only that, the af sheyoshva bagoyim. They're still sitting. We're not returned yet. We're by goyim. We're like we are now in America and other places of the world. V'lo nigalu afilu b'sof shesha. We didn't go back the 7th year. Come back to Eretz Yisrael. What happened? We didn't find Manoach. Well, matzah Manoach means not Manoach, a guy named Manoach, or Stam. I could relax. Manoach in the you'll see in the Gemara Yerushalmi talks about Manoach is Beit HaMikdash. The Hainu lo matzah Beit HaMikdash. The whole door v'dor shelo nivne Beit HaMikdash ki'ilu nechra v'yamav, and they consider right as if we destroyed it. We didn't find Manoach. The lama kach, and why all this? Bishmil, the rest of the pasuk, rodifeya hisigua. That in this pasuk in Eicha, that the people chasing us caught up with us. What's going on? It's talking about the Bein HaMetzorim, like we said until now. So I'm going to now go quicker because we're running out of time. I want to get ready for Minchas 8:15. They caught up to us means we blurred out the boundaries that we're supposed to be in. Bein HaMetzarim is telling us how to remain a Yehudi, how to get out of this place. We got in here because of Avodas Kachavim, Shvichas Dam, Gilui Arayos. I'm not going to get into it, but it's a whole long learning of it. We're not going to get time. And each and every one of them, we blurred and we weren't careful. The Gemara, you all heard this, you can't dance at two weddings. It's talking about serving Hashem and going to the movie theater. You can't do both. What are you doing? You can't dance at two weddings. And to each, everyone, every example could be this way. But that's the idea, is how could you live this way? Bein HaMetzarim means put boundaries on both sides and live in between, in there, in your spot. Don't blur an area to the Goyim side, and don't get confused this way. We were thrown out of Uzbekistan without any galut. Why? We lived there for 800 years. Now you know why. Because we would have been lost over there. Ben HaMetzarim, we have to have a boundary. If we don't have the boundary, we're going to get lost. And the way to get out of this galut is to get back into that boundary. So Ben HaMetzarim doesn't just mean I'm in the boundaries between Yud Zayin B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. But the Chiddush here is, it's telling us you have to live in the boundary. The Meshech Chochmah talks about this as well. And he says, this is the way to remain a Yehudi, and it's the only way to survive and get out of Galut. And the moment we start blurring those boundaries, whether it was Avodah Zara, or even wine drinking, which means starting to have pleasure with the Goyim, we're supposed to have our spaces, where and when and how, and we're supposed to be Am Levadat. So even that explains exactly what happened with Noach, and he made a thing with the wine after coming out of the Mabul. He didn't just destroy his generation, he destroyed for generations to come. We're suffering. The same idea. Because it was Bein HaMetzarim, you have to know how to live within those boundaries. That's what the Zera Shimshon is coming with a chidush over here to teach us about why Galut is this long. We should have been out already. Could have been done. 1 second into Galut, done. That's it. You had your degradation. We could go back. But the reason why it's prolonged is because we're not in the boundaries that we're supposed to be. We're blur. We're not 100%. Until it's not 100% clear, we're still stuck. Not only stuck, it's as if we're continuing what they've done. They were thrown out, the ancestors before, because they blurred these lines. And if we didn't fix these lines, we're still continuing that blur. Ul'om mila'om ye'ematz. Who knows which parsha is that? Ul'om mila'om ye'ematz. Told us, very good. This is Bamitzah parsha. Ul'om mila'om ye'ematz v'rav ya'avot sa'ir. The Gemara, comes from the Zohar, Parshas Pekudei. Arsenal got the wrong page. I found it. It's Reish Chav Vav Amud Beis, I think. Amud Aleph 2368. And the article in Hebrew, they had the wrong quote. They wrote Lamed Beis. I never go find Lamed Beis. The Zohar works with Daf, but it goes like continuous. It goes like 100, 200, 300. Not Lamed Beis. It's Reish Lamed Vav, and over there it talks about.
You got the right one.
You got it? Reish Lamed Vav Amud Aleph. Okay, that one is right. So what does it say over there? I put it in there. You have the quote. You have it. It's right before the highlighted, on the other side of the highlighted. Over there it says, Rabbi Yehuda Amar Kach Avedu Yisrael Yat Egla Maktiv Moshe Yikach et Ha'ol V'Natalo Mechutz HaMachne. My time will begin the Chama Yetzahara Dava Azal Benayu. There's two parts. The Sitra Kedusha Amar Moshe. Sitra Kedusha Lo Tishri Begos Sitra D'Msaba. The Sitra Achra and Sitra Kedusha cannot work. We are involved with Sitra Kedusha. Sitra Achra, the opposite side, is Edom. We're in Galut Edom. Whenever we had the Beit HaMikdash, we're doing automatically Sitra Kedusha. There's no chance under the sun they can touch us. What did they have to do? What was the first Bein HaMetzarim? Yud Zayin. They stopped the Korbanot. Now there's no more protection. It's over. And it took a little while till they got in and were able to penetrate. Because once you stopped doing Sitra Kedusha, you have the complete opposite side that takes its side, which is Edom. And that's what the bracha was given to Rivka. Ul'om mile'om ye'ematz. When one is strong, the other can't. And when one is strong, the other can't. Think of the Hunchback of Notre Dame and what that was about. The real meaning of the Hunchback of Notre Dame was the Jew was the hunchback, and he was giving a ride to the owner of his on top, who wasn't a hunchback, who was a tall guy. It was Esav sitting on the Yaakov. That was the real intention, and that people don't know. I believe it's Sylvester by New Year's by the Goyim, but I'm not sure. That was what they used to do. They used to make that type of play in real life. Then they would make pogroms, and that's be'emet. This entire piece on the Zohar is exactly what we're talking about. So now you have the complete understanding. I believe we have the complete understanding as to why is Galut lengthened till today, because the boundaries that we have of Avodah Zara, Shvichut Damim, Gilui Arayot is somehow not clear. And if you want to know how is that possible, at least one of them I can give you an answer. Zera Shimshon brought it down, and that he wrote 500 years ago, but it applies to today. When we pay taxes to the government, when we vote the Democrats, and we bring these people in, what are we doing? We're okay with what they hold, and if they hold Avodah Zarah, and if they hold of illicit relationships that don't allow, like Mishtevei Zachar and other things, then we signed on to that. And if we signed on to that, then we're blurring the Mitzarim, and that's the true meaning of Ben HaMitzarim. Ben HaMitzarim, the boundaries that we have to live between, which means to avoid completely Avodah Zarah, Shvichut Damim, and Gilui Arayot. We're not Shvichut Damim, we're not Gilui Arayot. We are. When you vote and pay the taxes, you're agreeing with the Shvichut Damim and Gilui Arayot that they have, and Avodah Zarah, and therefore we're continuing to blur. I don't want to say anything about Rabbanim, but those Rabbanim that support certain politicians that completely go against Torah, they're going to have what to answer. Because you can't do that. As we see right now, that's why Galut is lengthened till today. Otherwise, the moment we got embarrassed, we're going to lose our Beit HaMikdash, that was enough Galut. Like we learned from Masechet Makot. And what was that? If a person's chayav karet, Makot could forgive him. And if a person's chayav Makot, and he got embarrassed, he had to use the toilet for that. He was so scared. He's potter from the Makot because you were embarrassed. Bizayon Gadol. By losing the Beit HaMikdash, we had a Bizayon Gadol. It should have been over right away. And why wasn't it over? Because Ben HaNetzarim, we keep fusing. We don't have those boundaries clear. That's what Ben HaMitzarim means. Thank you for listening. With Korbanot.